Well, Coach Day, you are back on the Buckeye Cruise for cancer, and cancer's touched so many of our lives. Why is it important for you to be here?
Well, first off, no other school could pull off something like this. Where you have something that's been going on for 2 decades, where people come together to raise money for cancer and to make a difference. And it's just to see some of the people that are on the boat that have been on the boat for so many years, and then you see the impact that it's having. And when you think about being a Buckeye, a part of that is giving back, and that's what this is all about.
You think about Buckeye Nation and the way they support this football team and this university and everything. I mean, think about it, $44 million in 19 years. This is the 19th year, and we're hoping for another record this year.
Yeah, that's it. And it's great because like our guys are on here right now, our players. We've been doing that now for 4 years, and it's teaching the younger generation about philanthropy and what that means about giving back. And like you said, Ohio State football goes together with the university, goes together with the community, and so that's all a part of it. And it's great to see some of the younger guys get involved with this.
All right, it's always football season here. I don't have to tell you that. You've had a busy off season. Let's talk about the offense, and you've made some hires. You have a coordinator and Arthur Smith. I've been reading about him, and looks like you hit another home run.
Yeah, he's a great guy, a great experience, and we hit it off right away. And I just think he's going to bring so much to the table for our team, and I think Buckeye Nation's really going to like what he brings to the table.
How do you envision all this working with the offense? I know you guys have had some initial meetings and everything.
We're just getting started with that. Our first spring practice is March 10th, and we'll get going with the plan. But Arthur's been around great players. He's been around great teams. Obviously when he was in Tennessee, what he did there, and then went on to be the head coach with the Atlanta Falcons, and then most recently with the Steelers. But before that, he was very much involved in the NFL, but also had a great history of following college football. So he's excited to get into the college game. He's been fun to be around, and so now you have two coordinators. You have two former head coaches in the NFL. So there's a lot of experience there, and we know that's something that these guys are going to bring different perspectives to the table. And when you have credibility like that, it certainly makes a difference when these guys start with their first practice.
I don't have to tell you, and I talked to your offensive linemen. It's so cool. So many of them are here on this cruise, talking to the Carson Hinsmans and the Luke Montgomerys and Austin Servold. They love this guy, and he likes a nasty O line. We talked about it. And he likes running the football too.
Well, he's going to bring a mentality for sure, and like he said, we've got to figure out a way to get the ball to Jeremiah 10 times a game, but it's going to start and stop with the offensive line. And I know that's where his heart is. That's certainly where he played, and he's already met with those guys and talked about the mentality and the identity that we're going to have on offense.
The other thing, it was a different, and it seems like every day things change and whatever. You got older in the portal.
Yeah, that was important. I think when you just look across the board, the number one thing for us is to recruit Ohio. I think 55 guys on our team from Ohio. That's a big deal. We just signed more guys in this class, 12 guys, than we have in over 10 years from the state of Ohio. So that's important. And so we want to recruit guys, we want to develop guys, we want to retain guys. But we also need to be veteran when it comes to the end. So that playoff run, having some experience, having veteran guys is critical. So I think we addressed some of those needs, but this spring we got to jump right into this thing. We know that we have to build an identity, and with 51 new guys, so a lot of work to do.
Jeremiah is on the Buckeye Cruise, and Julian Sayans on the Buckeye Cruise, yeah. And he got his hair cut. He looks different, but you can see that he is really pumped to get back out there.
I think when I said this before, not too many guys his age have been to New York City. And so, a lot of those guys, when you're a Heisman Trophy finalist or had the year that he had, at his age, usually, it's kind of, you learn things. I think he learned some things at the end of the year. So now you're going to have a more veteran guy who's played some football before, not going into these first few games, where it's just his first game. You think about his first start was at Texas, and you think about everything he did last year was for the first time. That's not going to be the case anymore. And you've seen our schedule, you've seen our road schedule and what we have next year, but it's certainly going to help having somebody that's been through it before and have some experience.
Last thing, winter conditioning is underway. Coach Mick, you've got Schlegel back.
Right.
And with the number of new guys coming in, how important is this winter conditioning, and how's it going?
It's the backbone of the program. It's our foundation and how we start the whole the whole thing. And so typically we start to draft our leadership committee. We decided with so many new guys that we're going to wait till after for a few weeks to kind of get our feet underneath this before we do that. But this is everything. This is where you get your leadership. This is where you get camaraderie. This is where the units come together. And so, we need to make sure that, this is a really good off season, and then it heads right into spring ball.
Well, you know how I like to end it. Your message for Buckeye Nation.
Yeah, great to be on the cruise, raising money for cancer research here at Ohio State. But, we're working back in Columbus, and we'll be back at it soon. We'll see you at the spring game, April 18th in the shoe, and let's go back.